All right, this next match review comes to us from BlckOrb, who has over 1K hours in the game. So about the 1K hour mark is usually where I expect people to know basic fundamentals about the game. You are on Yamaoka Death Pagoda, good old Sanctum of Wrath, which is a killer-sided map, any sort of eye-shaped map where it's condensed in the middle, like Azerov's resting place, as another example. It's typically killer-sided because you can control and control gens way easier because there's a choke point. Especially when you're playing a character as good as Oni, that's going to be definitely to your benefit. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at your add-ons and your poikes. Okay, so you have extra blood and duration, which is good. Usually, in terms of Oni, you want to run like extra blood, duration, or speed. Any sort of combination of those work. If you're really feeling spicy, you can still use Top Knot. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's not a terrible add-on. So yeah, that's fine. Your build is honestly great. Can't really write home. Nothing to like really like get mad about here. Like you have Monitor to get that close first hit. If they pre-drop, you got Brutal. Pop, one of the best slowdowns in the game. And Infectious is obviously you're a slugging killer, so that benefits you. The only thing I think here is that like you don't really have a lot of like you don't have like any. You do have info and Infectious, but that's only people close by. You don't really have any like far away info, so you may suffer a bit when it comes to like a macro presence and knowing where people are on a macro level. So just keep that in mind, that may potentially be something that you know, affects the match negatively. Bang and Blast. That sounds like a candy brand or something. You find somebody pretty quickly, which is good. Oh, they have a that toolbox. I was like, what was that noise? Oh, that's so unfortunate for her. You still get this hit. Okay, so Oni, you have two methods of getting your power fairly quickly. You can do what Scott John likes to call the piece of candy phase, where you hit her, you hit this Sheva, and you're gonna let her bleed all over the place, and you're gonna follow around picking up the blood. Ideally forcing her to vault things, drop things, so she drops even more blood for later. Your second option, which is quicker if it's convenient, which you have the option of doing here, is going for split pressure. Because Oni gets, just like Nemesis, gets way more points for his power on fresh hits than he does on just like walking around and picking up his power. So you could very quickly get your power here because there were two people on that gen by hitting Sheva, leaving her to bleed around for later, you have blood for later, and then just hitting that other person. You're gonna choose to do the piece of candy strat here, but like it's not bad per se, but like you did have the option to here to do something more efficient. You left it on the table, so just keep that in mind. You missed that blood. You literally almost have your power. Just get your power. I guess you just wanted the down. I mean, I guess it. You still would have got the down. I don't think she would have made that pallet. So if you grabbed one more blood orb, I feel like you were a little scared there when you didn't need to be. It's kind of interesting. Somebody was AFK. Yeah. Don't do anything fancy, just bonker. I see somebody who notices want to like just rush, just to rush. You don't have to. Not in every situation. You have a lot of early pressure. I'm interested to see how this goes poorly for you. Gotta get your pop use. Yeah. I'm interested in how this goes poorly for you. You had somebody AFK. You have a lot of early pressure. My friend thinks he's more of his win. What should I do? Oh, is he bad at them? Is that why it is? They're definitely not mid. They are a strong A tier. Okay, wait for this value. You kind of like, for some reason, you kind of like aren't really picking up your blood too much. I don't know why you're doing that or not doing that. Skill issue. You could have hit her there. So they restarted that gen, but you're gonna get a pop use really quick here, so you can just shut it back down pretty quickly. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like this is a match review thing I say every time there's an Oni match review, and I feel like I just kind of get really, like I'm a broken record. Like, people leaving blood so much, it's just, it's better to have your power per... Did you see him? Because I did. They're walking around this rock. Yeah, you saw him move there. Luckily she runs back into you. It's better to have your power up and not need it than need it and not have your power, if that makes sense. So I don't know why people, like, hesitate to get their power up on Oni. Kind of interesting to me. It's a Hattie you haven't seen yet. She's shouldn't have anything to work with here anyway. Oh, you should have hit that. That is not good. That was a free down. I know you're on controller, so it's a little harder, but like that was a free down. That was a free down there. $3.99, as Karma would say. I think one thing that might come back to bite you later is when you're in, this might be like not your biggest takeaway, but this is something that's just important for everybody to know at home, is that when you're on an eye-shaped map that has like a choke point in the middle, like Azrael's Resting Place, Sanctum of Wrath, the original variation of Suffapit, when you have slowdown perks, it's best that you apply those to the gens in the middle. RPD, another great example, the main hall gens. Applying your slowdown to the middle gens is always more efficient because those are the ones that allow the survivors to break possible 3 gens the quickest. And the 3 gens, until they're gone, obviously benefit you as the killer. So you should be focusing like things like pop, overcharge, eruption. You should be focusing those on the mid gens in those choke points the most. So I feel like this might come back to haunt you. All right, see you, Lily. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out, bud. BMP the middle gens, which is smart. Which is smart. Getting those riskier gens done in the middle is super smart. That's what you should do. And conversely, on killer, you should be defending them in the middle the most. But I've noticed that Orb has mostly ignored the mid gen, which is probably going to make it hard to defend the game on a macro level later. Thank you for the follow, Nikki. I do appreciate that. I'll try to make that worthwhile, friend. Thank you. Nice. Good job. Okay. You're still in a fantastic spot. How do you throw this? Look at how many hook states you have at 4 gens. Am I secretly right? Am I forecasting with the losing the mid-gen? Because Orb wouldn't send me a dominant match. That's not an Orb's character to do. Was that mid? Is that mid-gen that just went? No, they still have mid up. Why are you not just using your power here? Use full health. There's already a lot of blood here. Why are you chasing at Shack normally? Why are you chasing it? Why did you choose to chase this Thalita at full health survivor at Shack while having your power up? That's a weird choice. You should have just popped your power and insta-downer. That's a puzzling choice for me. Very puzzling choice. Yeah, because that chase was just unnecessarily long, because you could have just insta-downed her. Yeah, you got some more blood up, but like... I still think it would have been better just to have her down and on hook, so you can get another pop use and go pressure some other people. You're still not checking mid-gen, which is not good. That's probably going to hurt you. Especially on this map. Well, because you're on this map, more specifically. I don't know why they're not trying to get mid-gen done, to be honest with you. You should hit that. Once again, the Hattie was dead to rights there. You shouldn't have been able to do anything. You just missed, and that miss gonna cost you. I don't know why they're just like not interested in doing this main gen very much. It's very strange. Like the most important gen on the map to get done. They're just kind of ignoring it. Okay, finally you're gonna start defending this mid-gen a bit. Which is good. You know most of your blood's at Shack. So I don't know why you're going to this side of the map to get your blood when you know most of your blood is at Shack. There's a lot of like macro inefficiency here. I think that's what I'm seeing mostly is like both with your power and your awareness of where people are, you're kind of just like you're making a lot of like tiny mistakes in the macro game, which is adding up. This is what I was talking about earlier, that you don't really know. You don't really have any like long-term, not long-term, long-distance info, so you don't know where people are because you only have infectious. Okay, you hear that gen being worked on over to your right, and you're on the last gen. You hear this gen being worked on as you pass it, and you're down to 1 gen, but you choose to ignore it for some reason. I don't know why you do that. Need food? Go get me some. Oh, you missed that. You didn't even attempt. Just kind of slid by her. Yeah, but now you're out of your power. I think with this in specific, it just seems like they don't... They make a lot of macro mistakes. Now you're gonna have a... Shema's been deathhooked since 4 gens. She's been kind of keeping away from you, which is not really your fault, but... She would be the one to go to here. They're probably on the other side of the map doing that other gen. You know where your blood is. Your blood's at Shack, and you're not going to get it. Once again, you could just go over to Shack, get your blood, and this chase would be ending super quickly because you'd be in your power, but you're not doing that. Here's somebody on the gen to your left. Good. It is more pertinent to drop chase here for that. Death at Gamer, good, good. It's too late, yeah. Your gen, you had the your gen defense here was not the greatest. Like you just kept kicking gens in really weird out of the way spots and not ones that would break up the 3 gen very well. So they just kind of did the gens that would break the 3 gen. You should get at least a 2k just by downing Sheva here. She has Dead Hard. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a smart play. Go into your power to catch up so she doesn't beat you to a gate. Well, he didn't even have his power enough flash because they just weren't picking up their blood. They were kind of forgetting where their big blood pools were, and they were just kind of like... I don't know. Like, they had so much blood at Shack, and they just never went back there. And spent a lot of time out of their power. Good, smart idea to force them out here, so they can't do any shenanigans. Smart, smart. Good, good. Okay. Sheva had made for this by itself. That is funny. There's one proof. It's pretty good. A lot of distortion, which is it. But it didn't really affect you because you didn't have any aura reading. Anyways. There's a deja vu there. But otherwise their perks aren't anything crazy. Okay, in terms of your main takeaways, number one, and this is gonna be kind of like a complicated one. There's a lot to digest here, but your first takeaway is your macro game, especially when it came down to your gen defense, was not the greatest. Your macro sense needs a lot of work. Like I was talking about, especially on eye shade maps, it's important to defend the gens in those choke points because it helps you keep the gens clustered together more often to get a 3 gen. That way that's easy to patrol. Obviously, if you have stuff like pop, it's easy to deliver your slowdown in the right places. It just helps you in the long run. But you were kind of just like going off into corners and kicking gens like in the corners of the map, which does not help you control a cluster of gens. It really doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Because you got to be thinking that like just as much as you're like US killer are probably thinking like, oh, I should defend this cluster of gens. Survivors are thinking the opposite, especially if they have deja vu like Dalida did. Is I am seeing a cluster of gens, I need to break those up. I see a cluster of gens, we need to do the middle gen in that cluster to kind of spread them out. So they're thinking the opposite the whole time, if they're moderately competent at the game. So you kind of just let them do that this match. You kind of let them just kind of like do all the gens that broke up the cluster of gens and called it a day. And that's why, despite having so much pressure, getting so many downs, you still lost. Because no matter how good of a killer you are, no matter how good of a character you're playing, you can't be on the two opposite ends of the map at the same time. Unless you're like Nemesis with the zombies, which is not really the same thing. You know, you can't like be on multiple sides of the map at the same time. So I would think more purposely with delivering your slowdown like your pop and what gens are you're defending, because you kind of just let them have a really, really good gen spread when you could have definitely prevented that. And I think just as a like little asterisk for this, you as specifically as Oni, your blood economy is pretty good, but you just kept like, I don't know if it was just forgetfulness or what, but you just kind of like kept forgetting where your blood was. Like you put so much effort into a really long chase with Dalida to specifically create a lot of blood pools at Shack for you to be able to go back and get your power. But after that chase, you never went back to shack to get your blood. I just like don't know why you did that. I think I'll just roll that into your second takeaway. It's like, this is the takeaway that I say every single Oni game is pick up your blood. There's so many times in this match where you could have ended a chase really quickly if you had your power up, but you just didn't have your power up because you just weren't picking up your blood. I don't know why Onis do this. Why Onis, like I said, middle of the match, it's always more important for you to have your power ready and not need it than need it and not have it ready. And there was plenty of situations you ended up in because you're refusing to pick up your blood that you needed, like a chase would have ended super quickly if you had your power up, but you weren't picking up your blood, you weren't going to pick up your blood, so you just didn't have it available to you, which kind of makes you 115 man with katana. You are no better than Trapper in that regard. So yeah, I think just a minor thing. I don't even know if I'll make this a third takeaway, like as its own bullet point, but like Sheva was dead at 4 gens. Yeah, Sheva dead at 4 gens. I'm not saying Tunneler out at 4 gens, but Sheva was on death the whole game, like literally the whole game, and you didn't have any perks like No Way Out, like Pain Res, like any of those perks that requires you to 4-hook the team. So I don't know why you kind of just like, as the match progressively got sweatier and sweatier and you started losing and losing, that you kind of didn't go after her or try to find her. That was maybe that's once again another, you know, tie it back to the first where your macro game's a little lacking. But you definitely should have, once things are going downhill, you definitely should have found her and got her out and then kind of fight as a 3v1. So yeah, I feel like the main thing obviously though is the macro game thing. Like you were defending the wrong gens, and you didn't really keep good track of where your blood was or where survivors even were. So yeah.